And today we have the privilege of having a brother and sister team deliver a panel for us. So Mills has been a big part of helping us organize Thank God for Bitcoin. She has worked in all kinds of capacities, but again, she goes by a NIM, so I'm not going to tell you any of them. It would break some of the secrecy. So Mills is awesome. That's all you need to know. And then her brother Paul is one of the founders of the Mutiny Wallet project. Paul also was an editor for The Verge, digital magazine online platform. You may recognize him, although he has significantly less hair than he had then. But he basically gave up the internet for a year while working for an online magazine, and then did like a TED Talk, an actual TED Talk that you can go find on YouTube about his experience and how it did or didn't change him. I will leave that a mystery for you to go out and watch for yourself and pump his YouTube views. So we're gonna right now. This is gonna be a practical intro, a practical demonstration of what it is to use Bitcoin. We've done lots of theoretical, we've done lots of philosophical stuff, and now we're gonna get into a little bit more fun. For many of you, I'm sorry, it'll probably be more fun, but actually demonstration of what this actually looks like to use Bitcoin, and hopefully that will help demystify. So welcome, Paul and Mills.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jordan. I love this conference. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm joined by my lovely assistant, my sister Mills. She has been a huge part of putting this together, so I'm very grateful to her because I love being here. All right, so we're going to walk through buying, moving, and storing Bitcoin. We've had a bunch of theoretical reasons why you should use Bitcoin, but what does it actually look like day to day in a practical setting? How do we use it? We use Bitcoin fairly often. How do we actually interact with it? Who here has... Oh, I already spoiled it. But who here has ever been afraid while making a Bitcoin transaction? So there's I think probably two main things to fear. It's complicated, I don't know what I'm doing, and there's a scary guy in a hoodie somewhere drinking Mountain Dew trying to steal my Bitcoin. But thankfully, we have the Lord on our side. The Lord rescues the godly. He is their fortress in times of trouble. The Lord helps them, rescuing from the shadowy supercoders. He saves them, and they find shelter in Him. So I just want us to trust in God as we're stepping into things that might be a little complicated, but there's a reason why they're complicated. I'm going to make a fiat transaction real quick. So I'm going to give my sister $100, and I'm going to want that back after the demo. So that was so easy, right? And it was so easy to understand. I held it, and then now she holds it, right? It's easy conceptually. It was easy physically to accomplish. So what's wrong with that? Why can't Bitcoin just be as easy as that? Like, are Bitcoin developers stupid? They don't know that we would rather use money like this. Well, I'm going to give my sister some more money. This is 100, what is it, 1 billion or, yeah, 1 billion Zimbabwe dollars. Great UX, but there is one little problem. So coin clipping, we've heard some other talks about this. This is an old-timey coin that got clipped. And Bitcoin is, one way to think about it, it's digital anti-coin clipping technology. So we're using a lot of cryptography and ones and zeros and a lot of concepts to basically fight against this propensity for people to steal your money. All right, so let's get into the meat of it. So there's two main ways to buy Bitcoin. You can do KYC or P2P. So that basically means KYC is like a regulated entity, kind of like a bank. They're going to take your driver's license. They want a scan of your face. They'll eventually leak this information in some sort of hack, and your identity will be stolen. But it's very easy to use, and it typically works pretty well. P2P is when you just buy it from a friend. I just gave my sister $100. Maybe she'll send me $100 of Bitcoin. That's a P2P exchange. There's also services that do that. So how do we move Bitcoin? So that's how you acquire it. How would you move it from place to place? We just handed it in person. So the main ways, the original invention of Bitcoin is on-chain. Right, so that's an on-chain transaction. You typically send to a Bitcoin address, and it takes a while, and it can cost a lot depending on the fees of the day. Lightning is a lot faster, but it's a little bit more complicated. So it's cheaper to do, and it's faster in operation. But because it's a little more complicated, usually most of us interact with Lightning in a custodial setting. If you're a nerd, you might you know how to run your own Lightning node. That's awesome, but you probably also don't need this talk. Other than you should review Psalm 37. Holding Bitcoin. So we bought it, we moved it. Now where does it land at the end of the day? So there's two main places. You can keep it custodially, so that means somebody else is actually holding it. Somebody else has the actual private keys to the real Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is secured at the edges by cryptography. So who is actually responsible for that? Is it going to be somebody else, or is it going to be you? The revolution, like security of Bitcoin, is the fact that we can secure it ourselves in self-custodial. It's more work, it's more responsibility, it might be a little scary. And then there's the hot-cold distinction, which we might get into. All right. So please pray for us. We've prayed before this. Lord, please help this demo go well and all this Bitcoin to be transferred effectively. So my sister is so kindly just got her. She's going to demo. All right, you're good?
I'm good.
All right. So this is Cash App. This is one of those custodial ones. I'm sorry for the future hacks that you'll experience in your life.
There's not a lot you can see. This is safe.
But so the first thing we're going to do is just buy some Bitcoin. So you guys can see what this looks like. This is very similar. It's like buying a stock, right? Because you're just transferring some money from a bank account to a company who's going to buy some Bitcoin on your behalf. And you can see there's some fees. So that's the main things that you're looking for when you're buying is how well do you trust this exchange? And then how much do they charge for the purchase of Bitcoin? A lot of Bitcoiners set up like daily or weekly or monthly recurring buys so that, in my Bitcoin culture, we're not like day traders, right? We're not trying to time the market. We're just trying to reasonably get into this different asset.
And you can buy such small amounts too. I think a lot of people initially think you have to buy a whole Bitcoin.
Yes.
And you can buy, look, it's 0.00. It's not a lot of Bitcoin. This is $20.
This is a real deal. Unit bias is real. You can buy and own a fraction of a Bitcoin. All right, so you bought it?
I bought it.
And now you have it.
I have it.
All right. Well, that was great job. All right. So now she's going to send that to me. So I will hold it in cold storage forever. I have a bit key with me. I actually don't need it for this demo, but this is an example of a hardware wallet. So I mentioned hot and cold storage. If you have your private keys on a device that's connected to the internet, that's called a hot wallet. And if you have it on a hardware device like a BitKey or a cold card, that's what we call cold storage. And so that's the most secure. So even if I'm going to use my phone, the actual private keys for this Bitcoin wallet is in that hardware device. Sorry, there we go.
So I just scanned the QR code. It's in the top right.
You can see there's, well, that's hard to see, but she's sending to a Bitcoin address, which is what is in that QR code. And you see she's got these options for fees. This could be a lot of money. And this is like a weather system. Like Bitcoin can be in a high fee mood, or it could be in a low fee. And so you want to be aware of that. And so you typically, the cool thing about Bitcoin is you can send $1 billion and pay the exact same fee she's about to send for how much you said to me?
Well, I'm sending you $20. It's
Nice,
a $3.21 fee.
I won't complain. I gave you $100, but it's fine.
You said you wanted it back. When we rehearsed this, you never sent me any of the ones I sent you.
Okay.
But with Cash App, they have a minimum, so I can't actually choose to not pay a fee and do the standard option unless I was sending more Bitcoin. So I have to pick between Rush and Priority. But for the sake of this demo, I'm the $3 on you guys. So confirm and send. And then protect my privacy. Thank you. All right.
Nice. All right. So she initiated a withdrawal, and now if she looks in her transaction history, it will. At some point, she might have an option to see it in the.
It's pending, so it's not showing up here,
that means
but
it
I'll
hasn't
show
been
an old
transmitted
one.
yet. We'll go into that. So let's just do one more transaction, just to give a bit of a contrast. So now we're going to do, that was an on-chain transaction. Now we're going to do a Lightning transaction. So I have for the last one I used BitKey. For Lightning I'm going to use Primal, which is one of my favorite custodial wallets.
It's
Right.
free.
It's free. What is going on here? So this is what is going. We'll try to explain it. But so she's going to send that. Oh man. Oh, they got you locked down here with these PIN codes.
Okay.
All right. So her on-chain transaction is still pending. I just got that money. I have 10,000 sats right now, or Primal just got those 10,000 sats.
Completed.
So did we succeed at our whole? Wait.
We succeeded, but if we want to look
Has
at
your
it,
on-chain transaction been transmitted yet?
I'll go to an old one.
Okay.
We can look at the block.
Really dox you.
Well, that's true. Do you want to swipe away while I scroll?
Here, I put these screenshots just in case something went wrong. So again, the on-chain transaction, the purchase, the on-chain transaction, and what do you got there?
Well, this is the Block Explorer, which in Cash App, if you look at the three little dots and expand, it will show you.
Yeah, this is great. So she sent that on-chain transaction. That one's still pending. But this is an older transaction that she did, and you can actually see it in the Bitcoin blockchain. So this is the cool thing. People are talking about the verifiability of Bitcoin, right? Like if I send an ACH payment and it doesn't go through for a few days, I have no idea what's going on. With Bitcoin, you actually have the tools to audit it and check on what's going on. All right. And then, the Lightning example. So thank you so much for the demo.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your prayers. It all worked. All right, so what just happened? So again, I want to reiterate, with the Cash App example, no Bitcoin really moved there. She bought Bitcoin. She sent money from her bank account to the company Cash App, and they updated a database. Like basically think of like an Excel spreadsheet, like Mills owns this much Bitcoin. We hope that they'll give it to her back later on. We actually proved that they will send it out just recently when we sent money to my actual Bitcoin wallet. Because this is an actual Bitcoin transaction. The way this works is Cash App signs, using their private keys, a Bitcoin transaction, transmits it to the whole network, and then that transaction ends up in a block. You can see this is like a grid of all these different transactions. This big one is probably somebody's like JPEG. These small ones are just small little transactions. When you send from an exchange, like Cash App, it'll typically be in a batch with a bunch of other people's payments because they're paying a lot of people at once. But this is real Bitcoin, and now that now I've received it to my own hardware wallet, I actually have control of it with my own private keys. And that's the beauty of Bitcoin, is we don't have that option in the traditional fiat world of actually exiting to self-custodial but still digital. Okay, so how did the Lightning transaction work? This is a lot more complicated. So one way to think of Lightning is kind of like a bar tab. You do this one-time Bitcoin on-chain transaction, like the normal ones, and then you set up what's called a channel. And I like to visualize a channel with these abacus beads. So you can, once you have a channel set up, you can send infinite times very quickly between two entities. So Cash App probably has a channel with Primal, or Strike, or some other Bitcoin company, or maybe they have a channel with somebody who has a channel with somebody who has a channel with Primal. That's how the Lightning network works. And they pushed some value across one of their channels, and that ended up in my account on Primal. It's custodial, so it went custodial to custodial, but it traveled over the Lightning network. So a few examples and of apps that do, because we just showed you just one path through these options, right? So in the KYC world, and this is very US-centric, I apologize for that, but Cash App, River, Swan, Strike are really good KYC options. P2P options, peer-to-peer exchanges, there's HODL, and Peach. Holding, there's a lot more options for this. Custodial, similar players, Cash App, Strike, Primal, River. Self-custodial is a lot harder. I think the kind of the industry standard right now, if you are willing to put in the work, is something like Cold Card with Sparrow, and there's a lot of really good guides for that. I just use BitKey, which is a little simpler. If you want to do Lightning, self-custodial Lightning is very difficult, and it's not very common right now. But Phoenix, which is not available in the US, and Zeus are two options of doing that. It's going to take a little more effort and education on your part, but it's really cool that it is possible. So, trade-offs. How are we doing on time? Do we have time for trade-offs?
Well, just not all the trade-offs.
Okay,
There's
trade-offs is my gift to myself, because what I worry sometimes when you have a conference talking about how Bitcoin fixes so many things and what's wrong with the world and how Bitcoin fixes it, and you get in this cycle and you start to think Bitcoin is perfect. Bitcoin is great, and I could list the reasons that Bitcoin is great. But we just saw some of the limitations of some of the trade-offs with Bitcoin. There's the block time. So there's a block every roughly 10 minutes. And there's the block size. So there's a throughput limit for Bitcoin, about a few thousand transactions per block. So that means if all 8 billion people tomorrow decided they wanted to use Bitcoin, there's not actually room for them on the main chain. We need scaling technologies to either custodial, which we just used a lot of right there, or other layer 2 ideas like Lightning to scale to a greater number of people. And yeah, just a review to visualize the Bitcoin system. So Lightning is great. You get these unlimited, once you have a channel set up, you get unlimited transactions inside that channel, and you get basically instant settlement. But there's trade-offs. It is very complex. You have to manage liquidity. If you push all your Abacus beads to the other side, now you actually can't send any more money. Even if you still have more Bitcoin to send, it's not in that channel, so you actually can't send it. And it's a hot wallet. Custody has trade-offs. We talked about some of these. So privacy. Your government ID on an exchange is connected to your transaction history. And you're not only at risk from the government, but also when there's a hack, your ID is now associated among the whole hacker world with you're an owner of Bitcoin. Now you become a target, which is one reason why I think a lot of these KYC regulations are very unjust from the government, because they're actually turning us into sitting ducks when the inevitable hack happens. And so there's a rug pull risk with custody. There's another exciting layer 2, Fedimint. Guess what? It has trade-offs. But I'm also excited about that. So yeah, I'm saying Bitcoin is a work in progress. It's better money. It's not perfect money. I think with prayer and education, we can learn to use it, and we can build it up to be better for day-to-day regular transactions. But we still have a ways to go. So I'm just going to remind everybody, don't be anxious, and yeah, please learn to use and move and hold Bitcoin. Thank you. Thank you to my lovely assistant, Mills.